Well, all these started when I started making these. I was trying to introduce boniwa, but I couldn't make it affordable because of the container being very expensive. And I tried making ceramics, but it was very inconsistent and very expensive. So I went into this concrete format, and it took me 3 years. Well, it's not to say that I was spending 3 years every day. I can only do these occasionally in the summer and then still have to keep the nursery going, right? Now, if you want to know how these were made, all you have to do is go back about 5, 6 years or so. I have it on my YouTube site. You have to go back like 800 chapters. I'll probably make another one, but anyway, that's what I have. If you're in a hurry, just go back and then you'll see how these were made. This summer, we went on a cruise to Alaska, and I was looking out my balcony and I see these islands, right? Well, that got me to thinking, how about if I make concrete islands and do the planting in that? Okay, well, in the previous attempts at making concrete planters, when I made slabs that's flat, like this one here, there was a problem of drainage. So what I'm trying to do this time is, see this here? This is just a cardboard with the plastic, and by placing it here, there should be adequate drainage. This area is all flat. I'm probably going to have to put some sort of channel here or here to let it drain, but just having this so that there's a gap enough so that it drains, it should work. So this is going to sit flat here. It's going to come up and become an island. So I'm going to call this my island planting container. And well, I haven't done this concrete planters in about maybe 20 years. Okay, how we're going to make this is we're going to make the concrete, and it's a very complex formula, so maybe you better go get your tablet and pencil and paper and write this down. Okay, we have our regular cement, okay, and then we have our sand. And the secret to this formula is 1-to-1. You put 1 part sand, 1 part cement. Ta-da! Yeah. It took me 3 years to figure that out. I used to make different formulas and then let it dry for a couple of weeks and then step on it. And then they kept breaking. And finally, I finally got to the point where it was 1-to-1 and it was strong. And then later I found out that is the strongest that you could make, is 1-to-1. So I got the bag open. Well, we have 1 scoop of sand. So let's get a scoop. And if it's not exact, it's not a big deal. So let's go with 2 scoops each. And I'll go get the sand. Okay, so let's start with that. They make these concrete coloring things. Well, concrete, when it gets done, is boring gray, right? So let's take a dash of black, maybe 2 parts black. This one is sort of brown. Different shade here. we don't know. This part is not very scientific. You can never duplicate it because you got a dash of this and dash of that. Anyway, so we're going to mix this. One warning, do not wear your favorite clothes because some of this will not come off easily. Most likely you won't see me in front of the camera because I will be a mess. So we're just going to take this and kind of mix it up good first before we add the water. And it's going to probably take a time or two before I get this right. Okay, now that you got your dry mix fairly well mixed, let's start adding water. And we don't want this too runny. We want it on the stiff side. Those of you that have worked with making concrete, you know it could be a little tricky, right? This mixing part. It's too dry, so you add just a tad more and all of a sudden it's too wet. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to mix this. And if you're going to make a lot, you could use the cement mixer, but we make these in small lots. You know, when I was first doing this, right? 20, 25 years younger. And I never thought too much about buying this concrete, or not the concrete, but cement to make the concrete, right? Well, they were 90-pound sacks. No big deal. I used to get a few and then throw it on my truck. And then now, when I went to get this time, I only have my little Honda Civic in the trunk, right? And I'm going, oh my God, what am I going to do with that 90-pounder? I got to lift that thing out of the trunk. Well, one, I don't think I could lift the 90-pounder, let alone get it out of the trunk. Well, they have two sizes. I got the smaller one, which is, it says 47 pound, which is roughly half, right? And I said, oh, thank goodness. See that last batch, the water that I added, hopefully there's enough dryness to make it stiff. Too much talking. Need to concentrate more. But you see how the colors start to come out, right? If you go just straight black, it seems a little bit too harsh look. So I've been adding sometimes the red and then the tan. One time I bought some green, thinking that I could make this look like moss is already growing on it. Well, that was a mistake because, well, the cement is gray, so it comes out dirty looking. I think they also make a white one, but I never worked with that, so I'm not sure. Okay, see how it's stiff? I still got to get some of this dry part in here, but yeah, so one of your first things you got to learn is your consistency of your mix, and I think this is going to be just about right. Whew! Considering I haven't done this in years, I think it's going to be okay. Let's get to the next step. Okay, let's see how this works out. So we got this part that meets the C. That's why it has to be flat. You can see how dirty my gloves are. A lot of times you end up with on your clothes. That's why what you don't want to do is to wear your favorite outfit. It might be your last time you're going to wear your favorite outfit. Unless you like stains, of course. Now, what we don't want is smooth. We want this rough. And that's, and those of you that have worked with concrete before, the more you play with, the smoother it gets, right? So that's kind of the tricky part. Now we need the bottom, right? And then we're going to have to build the wall so it becomes a planter. So you have to kind of think in, how was this when we saw it? It doesn't have to be Alaska. It could have been anywhere else that I just happened to be in Alaska this year and then got inspired by it. Seems like every trip we take, there's something new that I want to try because of it. I guess that's the beauty of getting away. I would have never come up with this idea if we hadn't been on that cruise. And having that balcony where you could look out every day, fabulous. So it's starting to look kind of like an island. Keep it rough, keep it rough. That's why this thing, the mix has to be a little bit on the dry side. Or else you won't have this rough finish, right? Okay, this is only my first attempt, so maybe as we go on we get better. But can you see the potential here? See? Make sure there's about ½ inch to 3/4 inch thickness so it'll hold up. And I think I'm gonna let this one set up and then we'll get to another one.